Well, given that, let's also talk about new manga then. So, I mean, the one that's been hot on the block is Gachiakuta.
Right. I think there was some recent news about the author self-inserting in the manga or the storyline, right? So there's a character that has a very similar design
Yeah.
to her own
The way she looks.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, like, authors do this all the time. Like, even in the recent Jujutsu Kaisen episodes, there's an image of definitely what is gay inside there, right? I don't see why this has become a controversy. Like, from what I can tell, at least I need to get back to that episode to be 100% sure, but the character's not important. It just seems to be like a background character.
I think it's blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
Okay. Because if we think about JoJo, for example, if you remember part 4,
Yeah, of course.
There's a stand user that his literal stand is writing comics.
Yeah. What the name? Heaven's Tower or something. Like
Yeah,
that.
something. I don't recall it. It's been years since I watched it. Right. So the author inserted himself in the manga that way.
Yes.
It was maybe it was because it wasn't so obvious, right? So
Yeah.
he didn't actually use his own
his own design.
his own he didn't really dye his hair,
Yeah.
or maybe I think that's what the fans are kind of.
But when you create such an intimate world as like we've both been writing stuff like, you know, most of our adult lives, right? And it's like when you're writing something so intimate, there comes a part where you do want to see yourself in the world to some degree, even just as an observer.
I agree. I completely agree, because in a way, when we write a story, we are writing a world where we would like to be a part of.
Exactly.
Right.
And mangaka especially, when the amount of time they take to write this stuff, it takes forever.
Yeah, and if you're building a world filled with fiction, imagination, and powers, or just as an escape to the normal, mundane real life, and you insert yourself in it, I don't think there's nothing wrong with it.
Exactly.
I think the issue that the fans have is that first the author keeps saying no to it.
Yeah.
Well, I think it would be easier if the author said yes.
Yeah, just accepted that I am the character.
Second is that maybe coincidentally, the author does resemble a lot like the character, even if she didn't try it.
Maybe it wasn't intentional, right?
Yeah, maybe it was unintentional, but she does resemble a lot like the character. Like the color is red, the facial features are somewhat similar.
The aesthetic, the height, like there's all sort of like this kind of enforced similarity. Yeah,
so there's so many similarities, and the fact that the author keeps denying it, maybe the fans keep leaning towards it and keep in a way rage baiting the author.
Yeah.
Because that's what some fans do, right?
I agree.
And if she just said no, that's I want to be a part of my fictional world, and I did a self-insert, so what? Many of other authors done it. There's nothing wrong with it,
literally. Well, I think that speaks to a broader thing that I do like about Gachiakuta, that despite, you know, that controversy in tow, I like that she tries to separate herself from the manga as like an entity. She does try to keep her story very separate from her own ideals and her own envisionments, which is something that's quite, I would say, rare in modern manga and modern anime. I do feel like a lot of modern anime and manga try to bat you over the stick with a lot of like their moral opinions, but this one does feel like you're just kind of observing these characters in this very strange world.
Yeah, I can see that. And lots of stories in recent years, authors do project a lot of their own moral beliefs into the story, which I don't necessarily agree. I think you can.
Yeah, you can. It's not a bad writing style.
Yeah, it's not a bad writing style. You can do it, but there's gotta be a middle ground between reality, or at least the expectation of reality from the reader, and the moral grounds that you built your story in. There are unnecessary stuff. For example, I think even in Gachiakuta this happens. There's an episode that I absolutely hate. I like the overall anime, but there's
that one episode.
There's one episode where I think the story is completely unnecessary for the plot line.
It's true. Like it does remind me of Goblin Slayer. Actually, that was quite an interesting one, because it did the same thing with the first episode of Goblin Slayer, where it's like this thing
that's different.
You think, but
that is different.
Okay, explain. What do you think? Why do you think it's different?
Because Goblin Slayer starts from that premise.
No, but the thing is, it never follows on from that level. It becomes a completely normal story afterwards, which then makes the question why you started with such a dark premise to begin with.
But it happens again, right? In later,
later seasons.
Yeah, in late season 2, I believe.
Okay.
Right.
Maybe
there is there is the other side of the coin where the girl that he took on, the priestess, she gets to save a crew that was in a goblin lair.
Yeah.
And she gets to save someone. I think it's right after the fact that the goblins actually did what they do.
Okay.
Right? So you do get the other... so the story has a normal plot line.
Yeah.
But it's always underlying there
that that's a base premise that you can go
that
through.
the world is really messed up in a lot of ways. Gachiakuta, though, that is not what I've perceived from the first 5 or 10 episodes, right?
Yeah, it's not built to be lighthearted. It's certainly meant to be like grungy, but it's almost like punk pop aesthetic. It's very like you kind of deal with the grunge.
But it once that episode of I don't recall what the character's name is.
Yeah, the character with the boots, you'll know if you watch the show, you'll know what it is.
Yeah, the backstory of that character with the boots, right? With that item. I don't understand why it's there. Because it was never established that this is what the show is about. Right?
Agree.
It feels random. Whereas in Goblin Slayer, we start from that point. The story goes normal, and if it happens again, it's established that, this is a normal event that occurs, right?